Hi, it's Hazel. Welcome back to my channel. This video is going to be a little bit different. When I was visiting the States, I bought this cutest little iron ever. It's called Handy Press, and if I'm not mistaken, I got it at Joann Fabrics. Now, I have not plugged it in yet, but I guess I will because apparently it needs 2 to 3 minutes to heat up. I never did see the indicator light come on as the instructions say it will. Now, because I'm obviously back in Canada, I cannot return this thing if it's, excuse me, defective or doesn't perform as expected. So I really hope it does. In order to make this maybe a more interesting comparison, I also have this Proctor Silex. Can you see that? Proctor Silex travel iron heating. Now the difference right off the bat is that the little tiny craft one, it says it's a perfect tool for sewing and crafts, iron-on transfers, appliques, and travel. The little guy does not have any holes in the sole plate, which apparently is essential if you use one of these things to melt beeswax. So, and it also doesn't have a steam function. This one does, but I've selected the dry, and I don't know where the instructions are. I've had it a long time, so I'm thinking that I just picked 2 as the temperature. So what I want to do while this little guy is heating up is to try a few things here. So we know that sometimes when we dye paper, it gets kind of, wavy from having been wet. So I have 2 pieces of paper, probably equally as, wavy. Or I could do half a page maybe. That might be fairer. So I just want to make sure you can still see. I'm going to iron half the page. Don't do that at home. With this iron. And I'm just working on this flat, well, it's actually, it's multi-layered. It's a flat piece of, I think it's the back of a calendar pad. So you can see that is probably better. I've never ironed paper before, so I don't know if people typically do both sides or not. So we'll leave that. I think that little guy maybe needs a little more time. I also wanted to try it on this napkin that I washed the other day, and it just came out of the dryer, like so. And again, this is using dry heat. Just a bit of a trivia thing. I'm one of the few people in the world that doesn't mind ironing. So, I'm not sure. I'll just keep turning this so you can probably see a little better. Now, whoops. It is not obviously going to be as good as if I was using steam. And I guess on fabric, there's nothing stopping me from using steam. It's taking, again, because of the weight, it's taking kind of an inordinate amount of time. It's taken longer than normal to get it to, halfway smooth. I also have this paper. Let me just pick a couple of pieces here. Came out, let's not start a fire. Came out of a 100-year-old scrapbook. Maybe that's good enough for the experiment. Maybe I'll use these 2 pieces. It came out of a 100-year-old scrapbook, and I wanted to try my hand at this. So again, right side. that's not too bad. Now, this paper wasn't as smooth as it is when I was what I was doing was soaking it to get some things off it. So it was considerably more wavy and curled up. Now that could be, there is some residue of something, glue maybe. This is a bit lumpy yet. Anyway, I had put it under some heavy books and so on, so it wasn't as wavy as it initially was. And then finally, the last thing I'll try are some of these strips that I ripped. Now, if you saw my, or maybe it hasn't been published yet, if you saw one of my haul videos, you'll know that I got kind of a grab bag of fabric remnants for $1.50 at a thrift store in the US. And the pattern, like in this case, was all these fish, and I didn't like them. So that's really quite good on there. So I don't know if the iron is maybe just finally at its optimum heat. That's pretty darn good. Whoops, I'm sorry. And I'll set that aside. Let's do one more fabric, and then I'll try the little cutie guy. So this too was a fabric that I didn't particularly care for, but I thought that if I rip it into strips and then sew it into ruffles, no one will really know. Now, one thing I could try to do, like normally any of us who have ever ironed anything, any fabric, of course, would have, we never iron it without some padding like you have on your ironing board. So even if you just had one item to do, you'd pull out a bath towel and put it on the counter and plug in your iron, and you'd be off to the races. So that is using a towel. Okay, let me put this aside. While I still have the towel out, let me try with the other end of this fabric to use the little guy and see if I get equal results. Now it has a really long cord, and honestly, doesn't it get marks just for cuteness? However, if it doesn't work, then the $17 or $18 I spent is kind of much for a paperweight. So this looks pretty good. Yeah. Now, I have to say that as a right-handed person, this is pretty damn awkward having this cord coming out on this side. It would be better if it was on that side. But I also don't, well, maybe there is a light in there. I don't know. Okay, so that was with the towel. Let's try it without. Okay, so get another creased area, and this is without the towel padding. Oh, so that's not too bad. And again, this is a very small, these strips are very small areas, so there's a fold. Doesn't really do that, but then sometimes the full-size iron doesn't work either on things like that. Okay, so that's that. Let's try this one. And we'll pick up where we left off. So about this yellow fish. Now the disadvantage that this one has over the travel iron is that it is so light that, weight and gravity don't really help there. It was a little harder to... this cord drives me. Now, oops, The cord is very long, which is an advantage. So I would say that did an equally good job. So that's good. Okay, now we're going to try this side of this. Whoops. See, that isn't a good feature either. The cord does not hang in there very well. Now, I have seen these sorts of irons, crafting irons at, oh, why is it picking up that color? I've seen these sorts of irons at Walmart here in Canada, and they are bigger and more than double the price I paid on this. And I know it's not apples and apples, so I just couldn't see spending $40 or so on a, that did quite a nice job, I'd say, on an iron that, you know, I'd be using intermittently. See, I think that neither one of these is giving me the results I would like on a piece of fabric that is bigger. You know, it's fine on those strips, and, you know, it would be very handy here at my desk or near my sewing machine. But I think, you know, I would not be satisfied with these results if I intended to, you know, do fabric flips or use a piece of fabric as a journal cover. So, and again, this darn cord keeps catching. Would it be better? No, can't imagine that I'd be very good at this left-handed, but let's try. At least the cord is out of my way. This is like sensitivity training for lefties. I'm sure they are annoyed and frustrated every time they use something designed with a right-hander in mind. That's a lot of work for the results that you get. So, and then finally, that's the smooth side, or the smoother side. Finally, this piece of paper. This is not going to be as smooth as when it came out of the paper package, but it is smooth enough now that I'm sure it could go through a printer and not jam. Okay, I'm going to unplug both of these. And, oh, let's see, I guess this one I can probably just, I guess that just turns this one off. So I would say, based on this unscientific experiment, that if you have an old travel iron or see one at a thrift store or at a garage sale, it might be worth testing it and buying it if the price is right. This one has its place, but honestly, that cord and it being mounted on the left side of the iron is not a plus in my mind. I guess it would be good if a person was, you know, traveling somewhere on a crafting retreat, or just, again, needed it for, where are those things? Needed it for, these sorts of small ironing projects, it's adequate for that. I don't know what to tell you. I guess you can make up your own mind, but I do know that for bigger pieces of fabric, neither one of these works well enough to make me happy. So I will stop there and hope you, oh, again, let me remind you, me remind you that if you find value here, if you're entertained, if you're interested in seeing what I do next, please consider subscribing. If you hit the notification button, you will be notified each time a video is uploaded. Commenting, liking, sharing, all of those extra actions, yikes, do help my channel. So I would appreciate it if you do that. And yes, I've got some exciting video ideas upcoming. So until next time, take care and keep crafting. Thanks. Bye.